Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper.
All right, Garfield, we're not waiting. We're getting right into it. As always, the heat struck again.
Oh, man, did it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad, like allergies and everything on top of it.
It was real bad.
But actually, should I say the heat and management struck again?
Yeah, we can't just put it on the heat. We can't just put it on the weather. Like, once again, management's lack of preparing for, the same thing that happens every year. We have people going. We have a lot of people on vacations. We have the weather's hot. We've got more stops on the cars and less cars in because we have we left less people to run the cars because of the vacations. And then oh man, weird. You run people 10, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. By the time it gets to the end of the week, people start to fall out because, the heat index is reaching 110, 112.
No, just horrible. And it doesn't, you can do everything you should, and it could still get you.
It could still get you.
But like you just said, I mean, if management put in a couple more trucks, they hired some more people, it wouldn't be, it really, I don't know if it would be an issue because, you'd have that many fewer stops. I mean, it still gets you, but it's just unbelievable. This time of year, they specifically cut routes. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I have been saying this since the beginning of the year, since we've been having staffing issues in our center for years at this point, and they haven't done it.
Yeah, forever.
And they finally started hiring TCDs, and it still hasn't been enough. Like, they've hired some since the beginning of the year, and it's not enough. But I'm like, why aren't we hiring more TCDs? You have 100 people in the preload every morning. This is specifically what TCDs are for. If they come in and they work, and we need help during the day, whether people called in or or things just came in heavier than they expected, or what. You have people there in the center ready to brown down and go get in cars. I did it for 2.5 years. It sucked. I'd come in at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, load trucks all day, and then somebody would be like, "Hey, we need you to run a route." And then you know what? I'd be out till 6. It sucked, but that was part of it.
Yeah. Unless it was planned, right? Unless it was planned. And they get the higher rate too.
Yeah.
So, but it's they what is it? Certain days they'll be like, oh, no TCDs. That's it. We're no TCDs.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't run our center without TCDs right now.
My God, it's just
Yeah.
And we talk about everything being safe and everything like that. I think it was in my center. I think it was 2 people fell out. One of them, I mean, great shape, right? No problems.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. And then I know there were a couple in the other buildings.
We had 6 go to the ER in 2 days.
Yeah.
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, and 2 bags of IV, pretty much for everyone, right?
Basically for everyone. One guy got 3.
Wow.
And what was it? One of those ER visits wasn't heat related. One of them was an actual injury. He did something to his arm or his elbow or something, I believe. But
so
still.
So to add to it, on top of cutting routes, putting more work on the trucks, the harassment's ridiculous, right?
Oh yeah.
So, but to the newer drivers, that's gonna get them. It's gonna stress them out more.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna make things more difficult during the day.
Yeah.
And the heat's gonna get to them even quicker.
And then they're worried about, oh well, I'm gonna get written up, or I'm gonna get fired, or I'm gonna get disciplined, or whatever for if I complain about the heat. And one of our drivers was complaining about it. He's like, "Look, I'm really struggling out here. I'm having a hard time. I've taken several cool zone breaks." and like, I'm going to need some help, or I don't know that I'm going to get finished, or I'm going to be able to make it through the day. He was trying to be helpful. He was trying to be honest with them. And they told him, the only way you're getting help is if you call 911.
Wow. I don't even know why they start like trying to bargain with him.
Well,
But again,
it was one of your old soups that told him that.
oh Lord, who was originally one of your soups?
It was originally one of my soups. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know the thing, it's just and we've said this so many times,
Yep.
when you're in that position, you're not thinking straight.
No.
You're not thinking straight. And it's do what's best for you. Forget about everything else. That's it. I mean, take care of yourself, go to the cool zone. If you go to the cool zone, you're fine, you come back, it comes right back. You do it again. I mean, there's a problem there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to survive it if you keep doing
Yeah.
that. I mean, you tried it, you tested it, okay, but that's not working because the issue is in your body. You're having that issue already.
Yeah.
You need to,
your body has passed the point of no return. No amount of drinking water or Gatorade or electrolytes or pickle juice or whatever is going to get you back to where you need to be to keep working. And once you've really gotten to that point during the week, like going home and sleeping a night and then coming back, it's going to take you a day or two of rest and drinking water and and letting your body reset in order to get you back to where you can get back out there. It's not well, I can run through and get these last 10 or 15 or 20 stops off and then go home and go to sleep and I'll be fine the next day. No, you're just going to end up it's going to end up coming right back. And pushing yourself to get those last 10 or 15, 20 stops, that's what's going to kill you.
And sadly, the driver from a couple of years ago from the Red Oak Center just went home and laid down on the couch in his uniform.
Yeah.
And he didn't wake up.
Yeah.
And it's so horrible, that this has to happen, but we have to keep repeating this.
Yeah.
It has to be repeated all the time because we don't want you to go through the situation. We want to prevent the situation. And I'm just going to say, the company, and we don't want anyone to just lay down and that's it. You do it at a comfortable pace, whatever your pace is. That's it. No one's going to tell you to do a faster pace. You do that, and if you can't handle it, and your cool zones aren't working, you have to make that call. But again, like we said, not thinking straight. So it's just there's got to be something to put in place for that. You know what I'm saying? Like just earlier. If you really start feeling it earlier, let someone else know right away.
Yeah.
Like, do something. Send a message through. Or tell another driver. Do something. Tell the steward.
Well, this is one of the things too that this happened earlier in the week. I think it happened on Tuesday or Wednesday. One of the drivers had been sent to help someone, and he was telling that driver that they looked really rough, that they needed to take a cool zone break, and they were taking like 30 stops off of him. And they were like, no, it's fine. I'm just trying to get to the end of the day. And as soon as that driver left, he called me. And he said, look, like, this is what I saw. Like, you need to call and talk some sense into this. And I called him, and I said, look, you need to go take a cool zone day right now. And I said, hey, and you need to shut it down, chill out, go take 30, 45 minutes, however long it takes you to get cooled down and get some moisture in you and figure it out. And then once you get to that point, you decide whether or not you can finish. Because if you can't finish, that's fine. I don't care if any packages get delivered. Management can say whatever the fuck they want, but if packages aren't important,
no.
And they went to the cool zone break, and I called our soup. I called our closing soup that night. I was like, look, this is what's going on. This is fine. I just wanted to inform you of what they're doing and everything. And about 30 or 45 minutes later, they contacted the driver, and they ended up just bringing it back because they just said, like, I can't get. They couldn't get to the point to where they felt comfortable going out there and keep delivering.
Yeah, I think if you keep communicating, with management, with your stewards, your fellow drivers, so they're aware. Someone else has to be aware. We don't want to just find someone,
like that
but
postal service worker back in
yeah,
it was in June in Dallas.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, it's no good. But I am going to say something. In the situation that happened to my building, driver went out there to, they were told to go, out there to see how the driver was, right? And that driver made the call because the driver was like, "Yeah, I'm feeling dizzy," and that driver that came out, I'm calling 911.
Yeah.
Like that, I commend that driver for doing that. And at Lone Star, I mean, when that kid passed out right by the crosswalk, I think a steward was there, a couple other people. They called 911 while other people were putting ice on them. They didn't think twice, and I commend those.
Yeah.
I commend those people for
100%.
doing that, not even thinking twice.
Cooling them
So,
down, that's important.
yep,
And
absolutely.
take at that point, take management out of the equation. You don't need to call and ask permission for that shit. If you feel like you need to call 911 on yourself or one of your brothers or sisters, you do it.
Yep. You know your situation. Yep. It's if you're in that situation, and the driver called me, he says, Jeff, I don't want to miss work. This and that. I said, I don't care. I can't really care about you missing work. I care about you living.
Yeah.
I said that to him. And I don't want, I just, and I said to him, I said, if you have to understand, and I asked him questions. Are you okay to call management, or you need to call 911 right away? What do what I'm asking him, because I'm trying to, get him thinking, and that's when the other driver came out and they called 911. So, I think everyone has to be hyper aware of other drivers
Yep.
and themselves, and just keep communicating. Very important. Very important. So, I mean, it's just something we can't play around with. We don't want to lose anyone else.
No.
We've already lost enough, and we keep saying it, but we have. So it's. I mean, do you have that designated safety person who's supposed to call 911 in your building? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know why that didn't work out, right?
Well, I mean, so much of this stuff in the contract is just being ignored, and that was actually one of the things that we wanted to talk about this week. We wanted to start a new thing. We're coming up on 100 episodes. When I was recently at the Steward Seminar, somebody came up to me and asked me about the podcast, and he was like, "Hey, what if you guys did an article by article breakdown on the contract?" And I told him, I said, that's something we had talked about, but we had so much other things going on, so much new stuff coming up. We never really did find the time, but it really got me to thinking, how useful that could be. So that people could go back and reference something, because basically we're not going to read you the article, but we're going to we're obviously read it ourselves and go through and kind of break it down and just kind of in terms that everybody can understand, and this is what this is, and because you got to think, everybody knows about Article 37 and Article 48 and Article 52 and the various you hit the important articles, but how many people listening to this right now could tell me what Article 1 says? Tell me what it's titled, if nothing else. And we think, and I think that that's something that we're going to do. We're going to get started. And I apologize, I'm terrible with names. So whoever you are, if you're listening, thank you for bringing that up, because it's something that Jeff and I have talked about before, and getting it started now is a good plan. So
it is. So I mean, I think what's important, I mean, it's Article 1, parties to the agreement, right?
Yeah.
And there will be times that we want to read it specifically, because we need everyone to hear everything that's in it, okay?
Yeah.
In a specific section. So I'm going to read this first part, okay? Yeah. Article 1, parties to the agreement. The employer and the union adopt this article, enter in this agreement with mutual intent of preserving and protecting work and job opportunities for the employees covered by this agreement. No bargaining unit will be subcontracted, transferred, leased, assigned, or conveyed except as provided in this agreement. So, basically, but what happened here is two sides came, negotiated, and they agreed to it. Okay. And this is where the anger comes in. The company always breaks the contract. They think they can do whatever they want. They don't want to go by the contract.
No.
It's
Well,
very clear.
I mean, no bar. This is the first paragraph in the first article of our National Master Agreement. And the last sentence says no bargaining unit work will be subcontracted, transferred, leased, assigned, or conveyed except as provided in this agreement. I don't remember Rhodey being a part of this agreement. But I don't understand how you can tell me that Rhodey isn't subcontracting our bargaining unit work.
Yeah, look at I mean, Section 4. Look what it's Section 4. I mean, specifically, I mean, it's 4.
Okay, so here, I'll just read it. The employer agrees that it will be a violation of this section if any affiliate or any other entity under its control enters into a business so as to duplicate the employer's common carrier operations as defined in Article 1 in any area. Affiliate for purposes of this section means any entity which is owned, managed, or controlled by the employer or its parent. The section will also cover an entity if the employer or its parent maintains the ultimate right to control or approve a decision by such entity. The employer will be financially responsible for all losses resulting from a violation of this section.
Yep. I mean, does that say? I feel like it should just say Rhodey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it should just say Rhodey. They just don't want to follow the contract. And here's the big problem. I mean, especially this: you enter into an agreement and you don't want to follow it.
No.
So when we say, when the company violates the contract, file on them. Okay, don't let them get away with anything. They can say what they want. Oh, well, you're doing supervisors working for money. No, you're stealing from us, and we're filing on you. That's the mechanism. We do that, and it shouldn't even come to that, but they just want to do it. Like the cameras, right? When the whole thing with the cameras,
Yeah.
I believe they should have taken the cameras out. They put them in there without us negotiating. So when they started, they should have just taken them out and started all over again.
Wasn't that part of the whole push with this contract? It's like, hey, we strike, the cameras get taken out. I mean, I seem to remember signs with presidents and principal officers and everybody else standing up. It's like, hey, no cameras, no contract. Here we are.
Yeah.
Thanks, O'Brien.
Yeah. I know. So, I mean, the technology change in 6 and everything like that. That's, they did that on their own. They did the cameras on their own. That's a technology change. I mean, it's unbelievable, and they keep doing it. And then they want to come after us for what? Wearing the wrong socks?
Yeah.
Because that's important.
They follow you for 30 minutes and you don't use a turn signal one time.
Oh, God, life is over. That's it. But yeah, hey, and that's why it's so important that we talk about this and we try to empower and educate people, because you can't just let this go. It can't just be the next person that files. We can't just let them get away with whatever they're doing. And they keep doing it. And, it's going to take, everyone has to play their part.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care if you've been there 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10, 20, 30, it doesn't matter. Hold the company accountable, because if they're not held accountable, look where we're at.
Yeah.
This is exactly where we're at right now.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's unbelievable. It just keeps going.
I just wanted to touch on the other two sections in Article 1 just to cover them. So Section 2 is just employees covered. That's basically just telling you what positions within UPS are covered under the contract. And then Section 3 is just transfer of company title or interest. So that's just going to be like if the company were to sell, like when they sold off the freight portion to T-Force, those people were still under contract. They had to move that portion of the contract over under T-Force, so those people were still represented under Teamsters, and they had to negotiate their own contract at that point. So that's basically Article 1. It's not something you see very often. I expect that we should probably be filing a lot more Article 1 grievances. Like, if you see, like, for instance, Jeff, if you were to be delivering to, I don't know, an apartment complex or something, or a business on your route, and you were to see somebody from Roadie delivering to there, or see a package sitting there that had, like, a roadie tag on it, but like I've seen the labels, they look basically exactly the same as ours, except they have a little roadie symbol on them. Like, how would you file on that? Just maybe snap a picture of it, file an Article 1.
Yeah, I mean, do it. Just you file on just as many as you can. They're taking our work away. Yeah. We're having, we're losing. In certain cases, we're people are losing money because the work's, being taken out. They're putting people on layoff. So you got to do a bunch of different articles, because the layoff procedure is going to pop in, and, it's just going to be 48, and it's just so many things. You see that happening, and it just involves everything,
and that's not even including like the subcontracting and stuff that's going on in feeders.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
I don't have a feeders in my building, so like I don't see any of that stuff. But like it's a constant complaint, and like as far as I'm concerned, why would we even let a subcontractor on the lot at UPS? Like, as far as I'm concerned, there should be language in here that says they're not even allowed on the premises. They can park if for some reason it gets used for whatever reason, then they can park their shit outside, and we can come pick it up. And a bargaining unit employee can come and pick it up and bring it into the building. Like
in the clothes shops.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. You don't go past there. But remember, we gave the contractors a place on the yard to stay for a specific amount of time.
Yeah. Well, we better accommodate those subcontractors. Walking around in flip-flops and no vests and everything else on our yards. Yeah.
Yeah, and we won't talk about the security issue that we've talked about. They don't have to go through any, security protocols, nothing. So I know we were talking about one. We went off, I mentioned, Article 6 with technology change. Okay, certain times we're going to throw stuff in there because it's just, you have to throw some other things in there also. It's not just one thing a lot of the time.
Yeah. And there will be some that are broken down into more sections, like, because there are certain articles that are massive that we're obviously not going to cover in just one episode. But Article 1's fairly short and to the point, so we wanted to go ahead and talk about it on top of, obviously the heat issues. But we're gonna try to keep up with this, and if we have something important we need to dedicate a whole episode to, we'll probably take a bit off. But I'm gonna try to title these to where they're easily searchable if people need to go back and listen to them. And since we kind of went on a tangent early on, I'll even put a timestamp in about where it starts, us talking about the actual article. So
and like I said, sometimes we'll read the article, but we'll break it down also. We're not just gonna, and that's what I do when someone asks me, hey, what is this? What's the article for this? For that? Okay, I'll send it to them, but then I'll explain it to them. Yeah, because you have to.
Yeah,
and certain things we want you to hear exactly what it says. Okay, and it's, like anything else, you have to do your part. Okay, I know it's a lot of stuff with the heat now and this and everything, harassment, a lot of things going on, layoffs. Just do your part, because you do your part, it helps. You file these supervised work grievances. Maybe it creates a job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Maybe it doesn't lay off this many people or whatnot. So you don't know. So you just keep filing and hold the company accountable.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we covered this, and obviously the heat. That's going to be a reoccurring theme during the summertime.
Oh yeah,
and the company's never going to do the right thing, so we got to keep pushing. So for myself and Garfield, have a good day.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.